4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
From the palatial yet not overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network here in beautiful New York City, sitting on top of the 10th floor, 345 Hudson Street. Welcome on in to a Halloween Thursday edition of the Zach Gelb Show across all the great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM, Channel 158, the free Odyssey app, and, of course, streaming live on YouTube. 855-212-4227 is the number to jump on in. That's 855-212-4227. And you could always get at me on Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, or via the good old cesspool of Twitter X at Zach Gelb. That is ZACHGELB. You could always hit us up, 855-212-4227, like I just said. We're rocking and rolling all the way up until 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific time. Ryan Koenigsberg's going to join us, the host of DNVR, the Buffs podcast. We will talk some Colorado Buffaloes at 4:20 p.m. Eastern time, 1:20 p.m. Pacific today. If you are listening to us, obviously on Sirius XM, Channel 158, one of our great Infinity Sports Network affiliates, you can't see us. So if you want to see what we're dressed up as today, you could go to YouTube, search the Infinity Sports Network, search the Zach Gelb Show, and bang, we pop up. I am Scooby-Dooby-Doo, by the way. In honor of the best pitcher in Major League Baseball, Tarek Skubal, who joined us early in the year, and I told him that my fantasy baseball name was named after him, Tarek Skubal, Scooby-Dooby-Doo. So I am in a onesie right now. If you want to see a big fella in a onesie, so all you ladies listening out there, if you want to see a big fella in a onesie with a Scooby-Dooby-Doo like headgear that is almost like falling down with the ears on the top of my cabeza, I had to wear a hat to prop it up. So the hood of this costume would not have costume erectile dysfunction, because that's what it was looking like without the hat. That you could go check out on YouTube. Now, last year, Stuart Kovacs had a 10 out of a 10 type of costume. Last year, I was Connor Stallions. I had the khaki pants. I had the military sweatshirt. I had the sunglasses with the binoculars, as I was being the Michigan legend, Connor Stallions. Stu last year was Mike McDaniel. Stu is going a little blast from the past, and I think this show is coming back, if memory serves me right. And if you're watching on YouTube right now, you could see Stu Kovacs as Ted Lasso. Coach, how are we doing? I know that you've been out of work for a little bit. Everything good with you, Coach Lasso?
Yeah, everything's great.
Okay.
I don't have a good impersonation of Ted Lasso, unfortunately.
We just did the showing up part. Like Samter said to me before we got on air, can you do a Scooby-Dooby-Doo voice? And I'm like, no. I could dress up as Scooby-Dooby-Doo. And let me say something. I am schwitzing my ass off right here. It is so hot today in New York City. When I bought this onesie, and it's warm too, I was not expecting it to be in New York City today, 77 degrees. So when I walk into the studio and the AC is on 70, and I put the AC down to 66, and then Ack comes in there for about 90 seconds to do his update, and he jacks the AC back up to 70, it's like, what the heck are you doing, Ack? So I may be annoyed at Richard Ackerman today. So I don't know how much crosstalk there's going to be between Ack and I, because it's like, you're in there for 90 seconds. Why would you then touch, the thermostat in the studio when I have to sit here in a onesie and you're not dressed up? If you were dressed up, Ack, maybe I would let you put that thermostat up to 68 or 70. But I was not expecting when I actually walked to work today. Usually I'll take the subway, and then I will walk home. Since I'm going to MetLife Stadium tonight for the wonderful Jets-Texans game, I said, let me walk to work, and I didn't realize how hot it was outside. I was getting a lot of weird looks today. And it's Halloween, right? Still, I wouldn't think I'd be getting a lot of weird looks, but they saw this large fella in an orange onesie with Scooby-Dooby-Doo, and I have a tail, and I was hoping, I was hoping someone wasn't going to pull my tail. That's something. I don't think you realize the tail, but when I was walking the streets in New York City, and if you judge some videos from some of the psychos we have in New York these days, I was very, very scared that someone was going to grab my tail and maybe cut it off and run away with it. So I ended up walking to work today. I do have, so everyone's, if they're wondering, a black T-shirt underneath this, and I am wearing shorts. So I am not just wearing the outfit today, if you know what I'm saying. And the company threw a little Halloween party. And I put a video out online. They had a brand new Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. It's like a werewolf track is what they're calling it. And Stu, what is that exactly? Read what it says in the packaging right in front of you.
It says werewolf tracks, milk chocolate with vanilla flavored cream.
Yeah, there's vanilla frosting like on top of the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. Now, it's been out for a while, and like I said, it's a hot day in the Big Apple. So when I opened it up, it was like a little bit melted. It was good. It's not the OG, but it was still pretty good, and it was a good Scooby snack. There's no doubt about that. I'm not going to lie, Stu. I was trying to figure out what you were at first, and then I realized that you were Ted Lasso. You know, Ned Flanders, I thought, for a little bit at first.
Yes, definitely Ned Flanders.
And there was one other person. Oh, Bobby Valentine.
That's great.
With the disguise.
Yes.
And I will defend Stu here. I like your costume. Now, I'll be honest with you. If I didn't like your costume, I would tell you I didn't like your costume. But I walked in, and D-Cell, you know, Bill Ryder's producer, who's always trying to tear Stu down.
Always.
And I love D-Cell, but I'm not going to stand for it anymore when you're always trying to tear my guy down. Bill Ryder, if you want war, we'll have a war, for crying out loud. But I was a little bit annoyed with Bill's producer because he goes, pretty lame of Stu not to dress up. And I'm like, what do you mean? He told me he was getting dressed up. So I didn't want the big reveal to be ruined. Now, I know you could see me, but I was purposely trying not to go into your studio area before the show. But when D-Cell told me you weren't dressed up, I came in and talked to you, and I could see right away. Now, you didn't have the glasses on. You didn't have the mustache.
Yeah, I wasn't complete yet.
On as well, but I saw your jacket, and I saw your whistle, and I go, okay, Stu's got something to work with. I think your Halloween costume is a good Halloween costume. So that D-Cell, you got to be careful around him. Because the next thing will not, I know D-Cell listens to us on his way home, so I hope he's listening right now. Just be careful around D-Cell. Because Halloween or not, next time you're coming around the corner and you're walking away from him, he may stab you right in the back. Did he, when he saw you, what did he say about your costume?
Oh, he said the same thing he said to you. He said it's a lame costume.
Okay. He wasn't dressed up as all.
That's correct.
So he's lame. So how can he call Stu lame, where Stu is actually showing effort and Stu is actually contributing to our fine national radio program, and D-Cell is just sitting there as a Debbie Downer? All right? So I'm annoyed at D-Cell. Very annoyed at D-Cell. I'll probably forget about it by tomorrow, but right now I'm annoyed at Tom DiCelestino. And you know what? When he goes trick-or-treating with his kids today, I hope... this is going to be mean to say. I hope his kids get the candy that they want. But when D-Cell does the little parent 5-finger discount, I hope it's not the candies that D-Cell likes. I hope that the candy that D-Cell's kids like is different than the candy that he likes, and he doesn't get anything nice for Halloween this year. I don't wish ill will against his kids, obviously. That would make me a miserable human being. I'm a little bit miserable, not full out miserable. But I hope D-Cell doesn't get any good candy today. You know, maybe I'll tell some old lady to give him an apple. I'm not going to say put a razor blade in it, like that was a fear as a kid. You ever get told that as a kid?
I've never heard that one, no.
Yeah. My parents would always be like, we got to inspect the candy. There's some story about some wacko putting like razor blades and stuff. And I'm like,
oh, geez.
Looking back at it, maybe that was true. Maybe some sick you-know-what did that. But I think it was my parents' way of really inspecting the candy. And then they would be able to see what they were going to eventually take when Zach would go to bed, right? And the candy would be on the counter or would be in the freezer. My dad was very big about freezing the candy. For some reason, my dad, when it comes to cookies, when it comes to chocolate, when it comes to like any type of like Halloween candy, not like the gummies, but he likes to put it in the freezer. Like, remember those cookies? What were those? It was like a light chocolate frosting on the inside. It started with an M or something like that. Oh, what's the name of those cookies? Hold on. I just want to make sure I get the name of these cookies right. Yeah, Milano cookies. Yeah, those cookies. For some reason, my mom would come home with them. Right away, my dad would throw them right in the freezer. Now, they weren't bad in the freezer, but Bob Gelb was a big freezer person growing up as kids. When I was growing up as a kid. All righty. Wasn't expected to do 10 minutes on Halloween, but, Scooby-Dooby-Doo was a little bit annoyed with some people around here. Some people, they got to start showing some more respect around here, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, let's get to the World Series from last night. Stu, is that why you're wearing sunglasses? To cover up your tears?
That's right.
Those eyes wet?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both, the costume and the tears.
So when your team is up 5-0.
Thought it was over.
Sure,
yes.
Obviously. You got your ace on the mound, Garrett Cole. You should be able to force it back to LA for a game 6. But everyone naturally, when it's a 3-1 series and you're on the verge of making it 3-2, right? Where was your mind at in terms of confidence that you were either going to win the series or at least win game 6 to then force a game 7? Like, how quickly, when it was 5-0, Judge is coming alive, you got the Giancarlo Stanton home run, like where the Jazz Chisholm home run as well. You got to be careful when you say that name on the radio. But where were you at in terms of the Yankees are not only winning this game, but the Yankees, maybe they could do the unthinkable like the 2004 Boston Red Sox?
I was in the mindset of, let's see how many more runs we can get so we can take out Garrett Cole and save him for a couple innings in a possible game 7. Again, I told you yesterday, I still didn't feel great about a Carlos Rodon pitched game 6, especially out there against Yamamoto, against that lineup. But
sure.
Still, you get there, you never know what's going to happen. Maybe Yamamoto implodes and has a terrible 1 or 2 innings, and then you figure it out. Rodon doesn't pitch too badly, and then you get to the game 7. But yes, my wheels are already turning that this was going to get to 7.
And then let's get to the 5th inning, where it was the ultimate ruh-roh, if I'm going to be Scooby-Dooby-Doo today. That 5th inning, I'm telling you, I've had Little League performances fielding the baseball better than what the Yankees put out on full display. And it reminded me a little bit like what happened in the ALCS up against the Guardians, except the only difference is when they were throwing the baseball all over the place and botching the baseball, they won the game. So it didn't come back to burn them. But the Yankees, even though they were in the World Series, they had a bye to the World Series. They could not be as sloppy as they've been this year and as careless and reckless as they've been this year to try to go not only win an elimination game, but just win a series, a World Series, up against the Los Angeles Dodgers that have the best lineup in baseball, 1-9. It's the most well-rounded lineup in Major League Baseball. And Judge, who finally had 2 moments, right? The home run, the great catch in left center field. He then just makes what should have been a routine play. He makes a colossal mistake. But it's one mistake. Then Anthony Volpe rushes a throw. They couldn't find a way to clean the baseball, field the baseball cleanly. And then you were about to get out of it. Even with all the mistakes with Judge and with Volpe, you have what should be a routine ground ball with Mookie Betts, of all people, up. And how clutch he could be. You got Mookie. You did the easy part. Inning's going to be over. You're going to survive. You're going to be up 5-0. You're going to the next inning. And Anthony Rizzo fields the baseball. And at the first look, I said, even if Rizzo ran to the bag, I thought maybe Betts would beat him out. But he kind of saw Cole running. And that's when he slowed down. He's like, oh, Garrett Cole's running, so I'm going to just flip him the baseball. And then by the time he goes to underhand it to Garrett Cole, for whatever the reasons are, Garrett Cole just stopped running. And I heard Garrett Cole last night speak to reporters. I don't know if they had him up at the podium. I think it was in the locker room. I was listening on the free Odyssey app to WFAN's coverage after the game. Garrett Cole, I know he's not the greatest public speaker. I know he always sounds nervous. For as big of a pitcher as he is, for the contract that he has, you couldn't sound more lost than Garrett Cole last night after the game. It was embarrassing. It was like, I know that they just lost the season, but you would have thought that he just saw like a murder in the streets. He couldn't speak. Everything was like, and he's talking about how he took the wrong angle to the, like, dude, it's the World Series. You can't assume in the world. I don't care if you made one wrong approach on the attack angle. Turn around and go. And that's the thing that both Rizzo and Cole did, and this is what championships don't do, teams don't do. You don't assume. Rizzo assumed, oh, Cole's covering. Cole assumed, oh, Rizzo's going to take it himself. And neither of them did what the other was assuming they were going to do. And once the Betts got on base, and then Freeman gets the base knock, and then Teoscar gets the base knock, when it gets to 5-5, Stu, I said, the Yankees better get a run in the bottom of the fifth. Because if they don't, this series is over. And I understand Glaber was up, didn't get anything to happen with the bags full, flew out. And I know that the Yankees ended up getting the lead back in the sixth when they went up 6-5. But even at 6-5, I'm like, no. You can't have that miserable of a fifth inning against this team with this margin being so slim and with the problems that the Yankees have had in the pen and anticipate that the Yankees were going to win that game. And eventually, we saw the Dodgers tie it up, and then Mookie Betts get the sac fly. They're up 7-6. And once they took that lead, I never thought to myself that the Dodgers were going to lose. Even when the Yankees had first and second, one out, Blake Shriner already pitching an inning and 2/3, when Dave Roberts came out there, and I wouldn't have crushed Dave Roberts for doing this, I'm thinking to myself, Dave Roberts going to pull his pitcher, because Dave Roberts is like the most careful manager, like overuses the analytics. But Dave Roberts, and give him credit for this, finally trusted his gut. He had a conversation with Blake Trinan. He heard what he needed to hear, and he said, you know what? This is your game. Go get the two outs. And he got the 2 outs. And then they bring in Walker Buehler. Boom, boom, boom. World Series championship for the Los Angeles Dodgers. So, congratulations to LA. The Dodgers were the best team in baseball all throughout the year. They were expected to win the World Series. Even after like a little bit of a slow start, you knew they had the talent. Even with all their injuries in the starting rotation, they clearly deserved the World Series. And quite frankly, I don't think the Yankees were a worthy opponent. I know some people are going to be like, oh, what are you doing? The AL was so soft this year. It was the Royals, the Yankees never had to sweat. The Guardians, I know those games were close. You never thought the Yankees were going to lose that series. I know how many wins the Yankees have. The Yankees are a good team. But the Yankees just don't have that clutch factor. The Yankees just don't have that it factor. And the Yankees, I'm not even blaming Aaron Boone for last night. You know, I saw Yankee fans blaming Aaron Boone. Hello, you could blame Aaron Boone for a lot. You know, maybe game 1. But Judge, a disgrace in this series. Volpe, I know he had the big grand slam, but you got to field that baseball and make a good throw. Cole and Rizzo, lost could be in those spots. And you get what you get out of Cole in game 1 and game 5, and you didn't win either. You know, that just sums up what the Yankees are. But the Yankees, as good as their record says they are too sloppy, too reckless, and too careless with the baseball. And on the biggest stage, when you're going up against a team that you almost have to be perfect to beat. And Ohtani was nothing in this series with the injury. But you almost have to be perfect to beat this team. The Yankees had too many holes. The Yankees were Swiss cheese. And you know what happened? The Dodgers gobbled them up. They let them have their game 4 little victory. Oh, wonderful moment. And then in game 5, even when the Yankees were spotted a 5-0 lead, they couldn't slam the door shut. It is the Zach Gelb Show with Scooby-Dooby-Doo and Ted Lasso. We're off and running on this very busy Thursday edition. We'll take a break. When we come on back, I envisioned something for years. And when it finally happened last night, it was extremely, and I mean extremely, just overrated and underwhelming. I'll tell you what that is when we return.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
All righty, this is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. So we said this for years. We need to see Shohei Ohtani in the postseason. Not just in the World Series, but just in the postseason. Because when he was with the Angels, it was maybe one of the more disappointing things that I've ever seen, with all of the hype around Ohtani and Trout being on the same team, all the injuries, obviously with Mike Trout. And you had these two all-time great baseball players, and neither were able to get into the postseason. And it was like when Ohtani became a free agent last year, we didn't know where he was going to go. But we were saying, even though we thought he was going to stay on the West Coast, you got to leave the Angels. Like, if he stayed with the Angels, it would have been baseball malpractice for all of us. So Ohtani, in year one, we know he can't pitch right now because he's coming back from the injury. But he had one of the masterful seasons you will ever see, with all those prodigious home runs. You know, joining the 50-50 club with the stolen bases too. And it was such a special year for Shohei Ohtani. But he dislocated his shoulder, and he clearly wasn't himself in the World Series. And he was taking like these huge swings, which if your shoulder is dislocated, you would think maybe you would swing with like a little bit more grace instead of just trying to get up there and clobber the baseball. And it looked like his shoulder, his left shoulder, was going to pop out on every huge, gigantic swing he was taking. But I'm not going to lie. When the game ended last night, I thought this was going to be some awesome moment. Even though Ohtani really didn't have an impact on this World Series, but it's still this like godlike figure, this video game figure, this mythological figure, this person in Ohtani where he doesn't even seem like he's real. And in his first time in the postseason, he wins it all. But when the game ended, I wasn't even thinking of Ohtani. You know, this World Series, it was a giant dud. And I know that if you're a Dodgers fan today, you don't want to hear that. I'm not taking anything away from the Dodgers. Nothing away from the Dodgers. The Yankees weren't a worthy opponent. You know, the World Series is really the NLCS, in my estimation, and whoever got out of the NL. Because the Dodgers-Padres series was fun. Even though there were some blowouts, the Mets-Dodgers series was an interesting series. You know, it was 1-1 going back to New York, and the Dodgers showed their dominance in Game 3 and Game 4. The Mets won Game 5, and then the Mets couldn't hit in Game 6. But once the Dodgers got through the World Series, it was like, here are the Yankees, who the Yankees, even though they are the big brand of the Yankees, they played like a small-time team that didn't belong in all these other, World Series runs or postseason runs, because they haven't been to the World Series since 2009. And since the Astros weren't there, you know, they've been to a bunch of ALCSs, the Yankees. But since the Astros weren't there, okay, they were able to take care of business against the Royals and the Guardians. They're not like they're slouches. But the Yankees played, an average brand of baseball in the first two rounds of the postseason, and it was still better than anything the AL had to offer. But last night, when that ends in what is a memorable game, like when you look back at this World Series, you're going to think about two things. You're going to think about those dopey Yankee fans that tried to fight Mookie Betts and play defense on Mookie Betts. And you're going to think about last night and what did transpire with the 5-0 lead, and then how the lead was blown, and then ultimately how the Dodgers were able to grind through that game and pull out a victory. But you look back at the other individual, the Freddie Freeman storyline from a human standpoint, and hey, as a Met fan, I hate Freddie Freeman's guts. But even with that being said, with how many times he killed my team, there's a respect level with what his son had to go through this year, what their family had to go through this year. The guy's playing basically on one leg, and all he did was mash home run after home run after home run after home run against the Yankees. But you look at the storylines here, Dave Roberts finally had his moment, keeping trying it in. You know, Freeman, obviously the World Series MVP. You have the great historical career of Mookie Betts, who has a World Series in Boston, now 2 with the Dodgers. We'll get into the dopes that are the Boston Red Sox are ever getting rid of Mookie Betts coming up later in the show. It's probably going to be the only time Stu smiles today, because Stu is down in the dumps after the Yankees losing the World Series. So at least he'll be able to poke fun at the Boston Red Sox incompetence. You know, Aaron Judge, outside of like 2 moments, really not showing up in the World Series. And then just the poor fielding of the Yankees. Like, you look at this World Series for what we thought it was going to be. Big brand, Yankees and the Dodgers, Ohtani and Judge. You got Soto and Freeman. You know, you got Giancarlo Stanton and Mookie Betts. It's like, this was supposed to be a classic World Series. And the Dodgers are just that much better than the Yankees, where it didn't live up to the hype. As someone that didn't have a dog in this fight. Which is funny when you say that when I'm dressed up as Scooby-Doo. But the Ohtani moment that we were all like drooling over for the last few years, he's got to get out of the Angels organization. He's got to get to a place that he could at least get to the playoffs and see if he could have those magical moments. Since Ohtani was hurt, it wasn't like he was a non-story in the World Series, because just his presence is always a story, but he was basically a non-factor at the plate. So when Ohtani wins, even though he had this historical season, I'm expecting it to be like the biggest thing I've ever seen with what the buildup was. And when they were in the euphoria of the celebration, I wasn't thinking of Ohtani. And it was actually, in a weird way, a letdown. And I know it's a 162-game grind. I understand the postseason's a grind. He had moments in the postseason. But in the Fall Classic, Judge didn't show up. Ohtani was hurt, probably contributed, obviously it did, to him not showing up. But the moment that you thought, and that was like going to overtake your body, and it was going to be so cool to see, and it was going to feel like you were watching history of one of the greatest players ever winning a ring, it was just a nothing burger for me. There were so many other things that stood out to me with the Dodgers that until they showed Shohei Ohtani, it was like, oh yeah, you know, that Ohtani guy, he won a World Series. So how I envisioned that moment didn't live up to what I thought it was going to be. And the reality of it was deflating, even though Ohtani had one of the all-time great seasons, and he will go on to have one of the all-time great careers that you've ever seen. And you could argue that he may be the greatest baseball player of all time with how elite he is on the mound when he does pitch. And then when he's at the plate, we know whether it's the stolen bases, the home runs, the RBIs, the average, you know, he's a unicorn. It's like what I was told Babe Ruth was, right? And you almost like wondered as a kid, was Babe Ruth even real? Right? That's what, like, 50 years from now, there's going to be, like, kids that are 10 years old. That's how they're going to hear those stories of Shohei Ohtani. All right, it is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We will take a break. It is Halloween. Stu's dressed up as Ted Lasso. I'm in a Scooby-Dooby-Doo onesie. So I am dressed up as Scooby-Dooby-Doo in honor of Tarek Skubal, my favorite pitcher in Major League Baseball. And when we come on back, it can't be a radio day like with Halloween. And I always love when, like, you have a loudmouth like me giving a serious take, and I'm dressed up like some jackass. But there's some bits that happen in radio. And whenever it's Halloween, you got to have a conversation or a little kerfuffle about candy. We all love candy. We could all relate to candy. So when we come on back, I don't know. I know Stu has a sweet tooth, right? You do have a sweet tooth, I've been told.
Yeah, very much so. It's a problem.
But I don't know what kind of sweet tooth you have. Because you could have a sweet tooth, but that's a very vague and ambiguous thing. We just know that you like candy. And I don't think you know my kind of sweet tooth as well. So when we come on back, not that we're going to examine Stu's sweet tooth, but we're going to do a little bit of a draft, and we have the ultimate Halloween candy draft. Stu will get 5 picks. I will get 5 picks, and we will see what candies we put on our list, and what are the candies that we get a phone call at 855-212-4227 saying, I can't believe, Stu and Zach left this candy off the list. What's wrong with those animals? All righty, this is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Here's Zach.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
And this report is sponsored by LinkedIn. Let LinkedIn's deep candidate insights help you find your next Pro Bowl hire today. To post your job for free, go to linkedin.com/recruitment. Terms and conditions apply. The Ravens have a situation that bears monitoring, with Lamar Jackson missing a second straight day of practice. Yesterday, John Harbaugh said it was because of rest. Baltimore will have a short turnaround next week, playing on Thursday night. The team termed today's absence due to knee and back issues. The Texans and Jets open Week 9 of the NFL season tonight. Houston has a comfortable 2-game lead in the AFC South and looking to make it 5 wins in the last 6. They come in with a little less star power, though, with Stephon Diggs out for the season. With a torn ACL, head coach DeMeco Ryans said they'll be fine as long as everyone sticks to their role.
Nobody has to do anything extra. It's just everybody has to continue to do their job and do their part to help our team, be successful. And that's just about every guy going out, executing, and playing to the best of their ability. That's all I ever ask of our guys.
The Jets have lost a staggering 5 in a row. The baseball season is over and the offseason has just begun. The Angels have reportedly acquired Jorge Soler from the Braves for pitcher Griffin Canning. I'm Rich Ackerman.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on Instagram. Our handle is Infinity Sports Network. That's Infinity Sports Network to follow us on Instagram.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He did the Monster Mash. The Monster Mash. It was a graveyard smash. He did the mash. It caught on in a flash. He did the mash. He did the Monster Mash. From my laboratory.
This is the Zach Gelb Show.
To the master bedroom where the
Alrighty, Halloween. Happy Halloween all. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network, and this portion of our extravaganza is sponsored by the new 2025 Hyundai Tucson Hybrid that has class-leading advanced safety features like the available blind spot view monitor to make your ride more enjoyable. Two things, Stu, before we do this draft. Number one, I am going to the press box tonight for the Jets-Texans game.
Not a Scooby-Doo, though.
Should I? If there's one
funny.
day I could walk into a press box
It's Halloween. What are they going to say?
in a onesie, I guess it is today, but I don't know. See, like, I'm not there regularly. It's like I'm representing the company. I'm going to see our pals Ian Eagle and MikeMayock as well. I'll go into the West One booth and say hello, watch a quarter in there. I like, as much as I think it would be funny, I just don't know how fun the Jets PR staff is. So if they see me dressed up, even though it's Halloween, they may be like, oh, the nerve of this Zach Gelb guy. And the last thing I want them to do, even though I usually don't give a bleep, is call our boss late night when it's Halloween and be like, hey, you know, Zach showed up as Scooby-Dooby-Doo. So I did bring a pair of jeans, and then I did have a sweatshirt that I think I'm going to wear to the game. But I feel like, you know, baseball, I definitely would never think about it because those baseball writers are just so curmudgeons and boring. You know, basketball, well, we can't get credentials for the Knicks anyway. Hockey, I think they would be fun. But for football, I feel like it could be 50-50. Even, you know, your boy will err on the side of caution. I think I will be respectable, you know, let me pretend to be a journalist kind of Zach Gelb. So that's how I'll go about it tonight. So that was the first thing I had to say. The second thing, I forgot what the second thing was. What was the second thing that I was going to ask you? You know, you dress up today and then your brain stops working. So I'll
Too
think
many
about
Scooby snacks.
Yeah, too many Scooby snacks. Maybe there's some special Scooby snacks going on. You never know. All right. Oh, I remember what it was. You have worked here for how many years still?
Including being a part-timer, it's been like
7 or 8?
11 or 12.
Oh, wow. That many years?
Yeah.
Jeez. So you have worked here for 11 or 12 years. I'm sure you've had things where your shift is scheduled. And have you ever cut it close in terms of when you walked in here?
Yeah.
So I was supposed to go to the Ranger game on Friday night with my dad. I got us 2 tickets to go to the game. My dad calls me up and he goes, your mom's dragging me to some Halloween party in their development. He goes, I can't get out of it. She'll be miserable if I don't end up going. So I'm like, all right, no worries. So I asked Carlos with the K because I know he's like starting to become a big Rangers fan. Like how you started to love soccer.
Yeah.
That's Carlos with the Rangers.
Interesting.
So I said, do you want to go? And he goes, yeah. And I forgot, obviously, he's the producer of Bart's show.
Yeah.
From 10 to 2. But like you get to Madison Square Garden to the station in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, easily, yes.
So the game starts at 7. Usually hockey wraps up like 9:30 if there's no overtime or shootout, maybe 9:20. So that's more than enough time. But if the game runs a little bit late, you would think that Carlos would leave early, correct?
You would assume, yeah.
Or do you think he does, which it's on a Friday, which is not nice to do.
Oh, Hickey has to stay. And
hey, Hickey, I'm running 10 minutes late. Can you just get Bart on the air? And away you go. Like he tried to get coverage, which I told him he should not do. Because even though I offered him, I said, hey, I don't want this to come back to me. You got to work your shift. So, like, if you want to go, but don't do like, hey, I'm going to get someone to cover me because it's not fair to Bart. It's a big football Friday. We don't usually take off on Fridays, especially in football season, right? Like in the summer, I'm not here on a Friday. Or if I am, it's because I didn't have enough off days or I just didn't want to burn one. But I think Carlos, with his military background, probably can perfect being on time, even if it means
I think so.
Like Hickey's sweating here in the studio thinking, it's 54. I haven't seen Carlos Ortiz yet, and his show starts in about 6 minutes. So
I think he could do it.
Yeah. So that was just
also,
something
I believe our
about.
friend Hickey is not here Friday because he will be on his way to a certain game. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So Hickey's going to the game. He didn't tell us that. What a rat.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. For all I've done for that guy. Kids these days, even though Hickey and I are the same age. So disrespectful. All right, let's get to the Halloween draft here, Stu. I'll ask you first. And I've been letting you decide the order of these drafts.
Okay.
Do you want to go first or do you want to go second? We're doing Snake.
I think, is a pretty clear one, so I would go first.
Okay. Here's my problem. My big board only consists of 5 candy items.
Oh, that's...
So if you take one of my candy items...
Oh, no.
I'm going to have to just envision that I had a special Scooby snack.
Yeah.
And just have some sort of craving come right off the tip of the tongue. So you want to go first?
I would prefer to go first.
Okay. Give me yours.
My number 1 is Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
You bastard! Are you serious?
Dead serious.
So we have a similar sweet tooth because that's my number 1. Oh, and you're a rat too. You recorded the video for me today.
I did.
When I was trying the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, and I'm like, this is my favorite candy. Huh.
To be fair.
You just played me.
To be fair, I had my big board written before that, and it was number 1, but I guess you make a good point.
You played me. It's all right. You got those glasses on. I can't see your poker face. All right. I will then give you my second, which is the second item on my big board because Reese's Peanut Butter Cup is 1. Give me a break. Give me a break. Give me a break of that Kit Kat bar. I'm going with the Kit Kat. Love a Kit Kat. Now, what is third for me, I don't think, because it's so obscure in particular, I think I may save this as my last pick. Because I don't think this, like, you may say a relative of this, but you will not say the way that I word it. So I will go Kit Kat, and then I will take a Twix bar. So Stu, Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, I go Kit Kat bar, and a Twix bar.
Okay, so those were my 2 and 4. Twix was my number 2, and Kit Kat was number 4.
So what's 3?
3 is Skittles.
Is that what you're taking?
Yes.
Okay, good job. Next pick?
I will go Sour Patch Kids.
Sour Patch Kids. Man. See, that wasn't on my board, but I was starting to think, what else could I do? And I was thinking maybe Sour Patch Kids once Reese's Peanut Butter Cups got off the board. So I get 2 picks here, right? So I will be 3 and 4, and then I still have 1. M&M's. Now, do I have to specify which type of M&M's? What do you think, Stu?
I think it could be generic, because if not, then I would take another one. I think it's just easier if it's M&M's.
You know what? I'm taking all the M&M's.
Yeah, all the M&M's.
Milk chocolate, peanut butter, pretzel M&M's, all the M&M's. If Stu's going to play me like that in the Reese's peanut butter cups, I'm going to get dirty. I'm going to be throwing elbows like I'm, Rasheed Wallace or something in the paint. All righty. Next one. Or actually, probably better to say Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett in the paint. My next pick. This is where it gets difficult, because I'm not going to go what's still on my big board that's one, because I don't think you'll name it. And if I end up being wrong here, that's fine. I've gone all chocolate so far, so let me venture out of the chocolate circle. There was one particular candy bar that I probably shouldn't venture away from, but I will here. I love Twizzlers. I will go Twizzlers. Red Twizzlers is my favorite type of Twizzlers. Channing Crowder was very funny the other day. I was on 560 WQAM. He goes, "You like the black Twizzlers?" And I'm like, not really. And he goes, "What are you, racist?" That's what Channing Crowder said to me. Which only a line Channing could say. Obviously I couldn't say that line. So I go Kit Kat bar, Twix bar, M&M's, Twizzlers. Stu has Reese's peanut butter cups that I'm still annoyed about, Skittles and Sour Patch Kids. You have two more picks. What do you got?
I do. My first one, I would go Snickers.
Okay, Snickers. Ooh, wow.
Was that not on your list?
No, that's a colossal miss. That's a miss by me. I'm like Aaron Judge in the outfield right now in a big spot. Or I'm like Garrett Cole trying to cover a bag and then forgetting to do so. I forgot about Snickers. Good job. Okay?
And my last pick will be Three Musketeers.
Three Musketeers. So you're like me when it comes to the sweet tooth. You prefer chocolate over like the gummies and all that stuff.
I mean, I had Sour Patch Kids and Skittles, so...
Yeah, fair.
I like both.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I'm probably more of a chocolate person, but I definitely like both.
So it feels criminal to me to leave a Crunch Bar off of here. But
that's a good one.
I'm going to leave a Crunch Bar off because here was my particular one. Cookies and Cream Hershey Bar.
Hershey, yeah, that's good.
The Cookies and Cream Hershey Bar is absolutely delicious. Scooby-Dooby-Doo! That was terrible. Sounded more like Fred Flintstone, if I'm being honest. Alrighty, so here are the results. Stu, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Then I go Kit Kat Bar and Twix Bar. Stu then goes Skittles and Sour Patch Kids. I then go M&M's and Twizzlers. Stu then goes Snickers and Three Musketeers, right? Was your last pick?
Yes.
And then I took the Cookies and Cream Hershey Bar. So that is the Zach Gelb, Stu Kovacs, Zach Gelb Show, Ted Lasso, Scooby-Dooby-Doo on this Halloween edition of our Halloween candy draft. If you think we missed something, which I'm sure there's people that have better taste in this stuff than myself or Stu, you could always feel free to interact with me on Twitter and Instagram at Zach Gelb, ZACHGELB. Or if you're going to be polite, you could get in the YouTube chat and maybe give us your comments as well. Alrighty, we will take a timeout. Hour number 1, put it in the books. When we come on back, I got to delve into the Boston Red Sox. Because the Boston Red Sox, even though they weren't in the World Series, are still a story from the World Series. So we will get into some bad decisions by the Boston Red Sox when we come on back and why they're one big fat disgrace after winning all those World Series. Ryan Koenigsberg is going to join us, host of DNVR's Buffs podcast. We'll talk a little bit about Coach Prime and his future. And it's also a Paper Shredder Thursday. We will throw some teams in the Paper Shredder who will not be making the postseason this year.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, hour number 2 of our radio program. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Happy Halloween to all. Stuart Kovacs today dressed up as Ted Lasso. I am dressed up as Scooby-Dooby-Doo. You know, I look back at the World Series last night. Ryan Koenigsberg, by the way, is going to join us, host of DNVR Buffs podcast. Coming up 20 minutes from now, we'll talk a little Coach Prime, Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, and how he's feeling about the Buffaloes at Colorado and their chances of potentially making the college football playoff by potentially winning the Big 12. But the big story in the sports world from last night was obviously the Dodgers winning the World Series. And you look how that game ended. It's fitting that Verdugo was the last batter up and he was the last out, right? And you may be saying, Zach, why are you bringing up Verdugo? Because it ties in to the Boston Red Sox. Like, that was the big player the Boston Red Sox got back for Mookie freaking Betts. And it's crazy to me, where obviously we all knew how great Mookie Betts was and still is. He won a World Series in Boston. This is not a small market where the owners are going to call poverty and cry poverty. But the Boston Red Sox ownership group is so cheap. How they allowed an all-time great player like Mookie Betts get away. This dude's a 5-tool player. There is not a flaw in Mookie Betts' game. And the Red Sox had him there. The Red Sox could have had two pillars for their franchise for the next decade with Devers and with Mookie Betts. And also, they had Xander Bogaerts, too, who was pretty damn good for them. And you look at Boston, the Red Sox. For 20 years, they basically dominated Major League Baseball. You know, you had 4 World Series since they won that championship in 2004. So there was many different iterations of the Boston Red Sox having the ultimate success. After all those years, the 86 years of waiting and 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 not getting a World Series. And once you have a domino fall, then boom. Then other dominoes fall. Like you look at the San Francisco Giants, too. They won those 3 World Series like every other year. After all those Mad Dog Russo rants that I listened to growing up as a kid. One time, one lousy GT time, okay? You know, just once. But when you have a team that hasn't won for so many years and then they win, it feels like you don't just get one, others do follow. And look at the Giants now. They're in a miserable spot. And look at the Red Sox right now. They're in a miserable spot. And it's weird to me when you have a team in a big market and they don't operate like a big market team. You know, and it's not like there's another team in Boston for Major League Baseball and like the Red Sox are younger brother. You know, they're not like the little brother. They're the Boston freaking Red Sox. But that fan base is so fed up with the ownership group because they had something so special and there was so much pain and suffering and so many battle wounds from those fans that when you're on top of the mountain and it's not like you got pushed off by somebody else, you jumped off the mountain. Like you had everything going right for you. You had one of the best players. Like you look at the faces of Major League Baseball. You know, obviously Ohtani, obviously Judge, Mookie Betts is in that conversation. I know it's premature, but Paul Skeens can be in that conversation. Like, there's not many other names that really follow after that. Like, there's a few more out there. But you look at the Dodgers, they have Ohtani. They have, obviously, Mookie Betts. They have Freddie Freeman. It's like they have an all-star lineup. And you know some of their pitchers that were hurt, too. But for the Red Sox to have Mookie Betts in their building and also win a World Series with him, it's not like it's a player that was there for 7-8 years. They didn't win a World Series, and you're wondering, oh, he has great regular season numbers, but no postseason moments. Is the juice worth the squeeze? Like, no. Everyone knew at the time when the Boston Red Sox traded Mookie Betts how much of a colossal failure that move was. And Mookie Betts wins a second championship, and now he has won a third championship. He has 2 in LA, 1 in Boston. And the Boston Red Sox, since getting rid of him, have made the playoffs 1 time? You know, they've been a non-factor the Boston Red Sox. And quite frankly, the Boston Red Sox right now are embarrassing. And the Red Sox, you could argue, and I haven't gone through all of them, but you know what the worst trade is of all time? It's trading Babe Ruth to get money for a freaking Broadway show, right? No, Nunette. Like, that's Babe Ruth. We all know the legend of Babe Ruth. And up until Ohtani, people like Babe Ruth's the greatest baseball player of all time. And then you have Mookie Betts, who's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, who is going to play for many more years, in all likelihood win another championship. It's like, do you know how rare the Boston Red Sox, they had David Ortiz, right? David Ortiz was the face of 3 of those championships. Then Mookie Betts could have been the face, already with the World Series, of the next era of Red Sox baseball. And if they would have kept Mookie Betts, you got to think they would have had enough where Mookie could have won at least another championship there. But because the Red Sox are cheap, and because that ownership group had success and they're like, okay, we're good, we're satisfied, they didn't want to pay Mookie Betts. And you know what, Stu? You see this more in baseball than any other sport. You have these billionaire owners, and you even learned this during the pandemic, where they cry poverty. Like, there are actual people in America that have to live paycheck to paycheck. There are people that obviously are in a spot financially where I have great sympathy for them. You know, a tremendous amount of sympathy. But here are the Boston Red Sox, as their owners own God knows how many teams. They were trying to get the Celtics, and like Boston fans were like, no, please. Don't let them take over the Celtics. They'll run it into the ground. And they had a machine that was well-oiled. It was humming. They were the industry standard. And they're like, you know what? We're just going to downsize. We're going to move to a much smaller production plant. We are going to cut all the resources, and we're still going to expect the same results. That's what the Red Sox did. And for their owners to be like, oh, we can't afford Mookie. And you have other Major League Baseball owners during the pandemic. We're losing so much money. Like, you're not at a point ever in life where you're uncomfortable. You can't live the life that you want. And for the Red Sox ownership group to trade away Mookie Betts, whew, it's one of the all-time worst decisions I've ever seen in Major League Baseball, Stu. And really, you're a Yankee fan, and you need something to uplift your spirits today because you're down in the dumps. You're miserable. Your team choked in a big spot. They gagged away, forcing a Game 6. But the only, I guess, solace you could have in losing last night is that Mookie Betts is one of the all-time great players, is going to go on to have an all-time great career, already has 3 World Series championships, is going to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer, and now he's just having success with the Dodgers, but he should be having that success in your division, in the AL East, with the Boston Red Sox.
Does make me feel a little better. However, these lovely owners are the same owners that own my soccer team. Oh. And it's the same, it's pretty much the same garbage as it is with the Red Sox. All they care about is the bottom line, crying poor always.
Oh, so that's how they operate the soccer team too?
They do, yes.
Shocker. And they want to get the Celtics? I know that's not going to happen.
That makes no sense because they're so cheap. Yeah. I don't understand it.
And the Grossbeck family, I think they are cognizant of the perception of the Henrys, where they will not allow, right, obviously, them to buy the Boston Celtics. I
would think so.
Because you don't want to, like, even though you take whatever money you could get money from people that have actually good intentions. But you look back at that deal.
Oh.
It was a 3-team trade. Like, who cares what the Twins got? But the Red Sox got Alex Verdugo, Jeter Downs, and Connor Wong. The Dodgers, they got Betts, David Price, Gatterall, right, who's still on the team, and Luke Raley, and a 2020 competitive round B draft pick, whatever that means. But look at the return for the Red Sox. Connor Wong, who I think had batted 280 this year with 13 homers, something like that, I looked up. Jeter Downs, and Alex Verdugo, who's not even on your team anymore. And Verdugo was the big piece that you were getting back. You know, you could trade away an all-time great player and you get something back in return that's like pretty damn good for it. It's like, look at what happened to the Nationals. You know, they knew that they weren't going to be able to keep Juan Soto, and they at least got some pieces back. You have some tangible pieces. The Red Sox have nothing. Nothing from that deal. That could really, really significantly help the franchise. 855-212-4227. 855-212-4227. I don't even know how to refer to this guy anymore. Because every time he calls, he's got a different name. So let's go to our favorite masshole. And that, of course, you know, I'll just call him how I know him. Sully. What's up, Sul?
Buddy, you touched on such a nerve. First of all, happy Halloween.
You too? You dressing up? You going as Piero's veal parm? Is that what you're going as?
No Piero's. We're driving right now to California for one of my best friend's weddings. So
oh, well, as they would say in my religion, mazel tov, Sully.
Thank you. I'll tell him. My tattoo art. So,
it's your tattoo artist?
Yes.
Oh, are you getting a tattoo for the wedding?
I'm on tattoo probation. We've had this conversation before, remember?
Oh, you're on tattoo probation?
Yeah.
The missus doesn't want any more tattoos? Is that what it is?
I have to get approval first. Tattoos and sneakers. No more. I have to get approval.
Oh, my God. I didn't know that was sneakers, too.
Oh, yeah.
Now, wait, hold on.
Keep me in line.
I feel like the sneaker part is tougher for you than the tattoo part.
No, they're equally as challenging.
Okay. So the tattoo of my face and Perloff isn't going to be making it onto your thigh, right?
I have to get, whoa, that's aggressive. I have to get approval. I'm sure people love hearing this conversation.
Yeah. All righty.
Zach?
Yeah, go ahead.
I quit on the Red Sox the moment they traded Mookie Betts.
You're no longer a fan?
No. I'll watch them every now and then. Like, I'll go to a game when I'm back in Boston. But no. And I was excited that the Dodgers got to win because it's Dave Roberts and Mookie Betts. Two people that brought me a lot of joy in my sports life.
So and I think that's an accurate feeling. Like, hey, the Red Sox are always going to be the Red Sox, right? The building's always going to be packed. No,
it's not always packed.
Yeah, you're right on that.
Tired. The fans are tired. And I don't understand when they went from the great guys to the heel. It's like a wrestling analogy. They went from the good guy to a heel with John Henry, and I'm done. I'm done listening. Oh, this year we're going to be different. No, they're not. They're going to do the same thing. I love Alex Cora. That 2018 team brought me a lot of joy. But I'm done. I'm done with that. Mookie Betts, to come up through the organization, to change positions, because as a second baseman, they had Dustin Pedroia. He learns the outfield. He becomes one of the best all-time to play the position. You mentioned 5-tool player. I love seeing how much joy he gets in winning another championship, because it sticks it to the owners of the Red Sox, who can't even make the postseason, and they're not even close.
And I do think
next year will be different. I don't think next year will be different, Zach.
Yeah, and I do think you accurately portray a huge sentiment in the Boston Red Sox fan base, where we all know how beloved the Red Sox were and how all Boston wanted was that team to win a World Series. And then after you not only got one, you ended up getting 4 in that crazy stretch, and how fun the Red Sox were and how much that team also meant to the city after obviously the Boston bombing, and then obviously had the 04 team right as they called themselves the Idiots and sticking it to the Yankees down 3-0 and coming on back. It was such a fun team, and this is why I think the fan base despises the ownership group. It's not that the product and like how they're not winning anymore. It's that they did it to themselves, and you have a really proudful group of fans that love this team, and the ownership group had great things, and it's like they just got spit on by the ownership group. It's like one thing like, hey, pound for pound, if a team's better than you, you could respect it, but it was really sabotage what the Red Sox ownership group did, and that's why it annoys Boston Red Sox fans, I'd imagine.
And then they let Bogarts go. They got Trevor Story, and he hasn't been able to be healthy like they had. You mentioned Bogarts, Betts, and Devers. They had a pillar for the next generation, and the only one they kept was Devers, because I think that would have completely caused a mutiny with that fan base if they didn't keep Devers. But I loved it. I love watching Mookie Betts, and I love that my friends in L.A. get to experience how great of a player Mookie Betts is all around. It just, it is what it is. I'm very grateful for the joy that they brought me, but you know what? No thank you to the Red Sox. Go Doyers.
All righty. Last thing I'll ask you, Sully. So maybe I was aggressive with the thigh, but Gelb and Perloff on the calf. Can we get approval for that, for a tattoo?
I got a thumbs down from the fabulous Troopy.
Wow. Okay. Well, you know what? I'll disagree with you. I'm not going to disagree with her because she's your boss. She's my boss too, right?
I love you very much. He's everybody's boss, buddy.
You got it, Sully. All right. Safe travels to you and your bride, and have fun at the wedding for your tattoo artist, which you're not allowed to get a tattoo anymore unless if the missus says so. Huh? That's what happens when you get married. You got to listen to everything the missus says because you don't have a happy life if you don't got a happy wife. All righty, Zach Gelb, Infinity Sports Network. We will take a break. Ryan Koenigsberg is going to join us next, the host of DNVR Buffs Podcast. It's going to be a primetime spot. We'll be talking Coach Prime, Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, and oh so much more with this Colorado football team, as it's been a pleasant surprise and a wonderful story.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show.
All right, it is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. I'm very impressed with Colorado football because the Buffaloes are already bowl eligible. And it's Halloween, and they got bowl eligibility last week with their victory over Cincinnati. So Coach Prime, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, they're rolling right now. So we will head out to Denver, and we will talk to Ryan Koenigsberg, who does a great job, host of the DNVR Buffs podcast. And he's kind enough to join us right now. I am wearing a Scooby-Dooby-Doo costume right now, Ryan. So I think this is the first time that you've done a Colorado interview while getting interviewed by Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, usually when people are talking about Colorado, they're wearing clown costumes.
Well, I'll tell you this. Jay Norvell probably, I don't have sunglasses on, but he probably wouldn't be happy with my attire with two grown men having a conversation about Colorado.
That is true. That is very true.
So let me just first discuss what happened last week. For them to already get to 6 wins and to just see the growth of this program over the last 2 years, how do you kind of put it into words what Deion, Coach Prime's been able to do the last 2 years with Colorado?
Yeah, I mean, to understand it whatsoever, you have to understand where this team came from. And, like, I think you can hear the record 1-11 and hear, okay, they were really bad. But you had to see those games, and you have to understand that they lost those games by an average of over 29 points per game. They had 7 games in that season that they lost by more than 30 points. They were not just bad. As far as I'm concerned, they were one of the worst teams in college football history at the Power 5 level. And, you know, like I posted about this earlier this week, but like people who had season tickets for decades and decades were canceling. You know, it was bad, man. It was as bad as you can imagine it being for a fan base. And, you know, I posted at the time, like, this next hire is the most important hire in program history. They have to figure out a way to get back to relevancy during this time in college football where so much is changing and relevancy is so valuable considering all of the conference realignment and how this thing is eventually going to end up. And for Coach Prime to come in, flip that team from 1 win to 4 wins last year, which I think was frowned upon from everywhere outside of Boulder, but inside Boulder it was like, okay, like this is much better. They're, you know, most of their losses were 1-score games, and then to go into this year, fill kind of a lot of the gaps on the offensive and defensive lines, and put together like what is a real football team. You know, Travis and Shedeur, rightfully so, get so many headlines, but this is a team that goes down the line and has players at every position. And, you know, Travis Hunter is injured against Arizona and barely plays the first half, doesn't play the second half. They're matched up against Tetero and McMillan, one of the best wide receivers in the country, and they bring in a guy who was only playing in dime packages in Colton Hood, and he goes out there and locks up Tetero and McMillan. He has like 5 catches in the game. So they have depth, they have skill, they have, you know, line play. It's remarkable for them to be at this position after where they were 2 years ago.
So you touched on it. Last year, they get off to that 3-0 start, and the expectations, I thought, got too big because going into the year last year, I thought they were only going to win 4 games, and they ended up doing that. But when you start out 3-0 and only win 1 game down the stretch, it is disappointing, even though those games were close. But going into this year with the changes, the way that they altered the roster, and also, right, the entire coaching staff had their feet wet with being there for an entire year. What were you expecting with this team before the season started?
Yeah, I mean, I was higher on them than most, and there's still a chance that I end up being too low on them. I had them winning 9 games this year, and I thought, seeing what they did in the trenches, being able to protect the quarterback like they have, which much better than they did last year, adding LeJontay Wester at wide receiver, Will Shepherd at wide receiver, and then, at the time, hopefully a full year of Travis Hunter, which people forget. He missed 3 games last year and then wasn't himself in the 4th when he came back. So I obviously had really high hopes for them, and there's a decent chance. I think they started out as underdogs against Texas Tech, but I wouldn't be surprised if that gets close to even, and then they'll probably be favored in the last 3 games after that. So they have a chance to win 10 and make some real noise here at the end of the season.
Yeah, and those final 3 games, after the Texas Tech game, Utah, Kansas, and Oklahoma State, and Kansas and Oklahoma State haven't lived up to the hype that we thought was going to happen before the year. Ryan Koenigsberg here with us. The Big 12's been fun. I don't know how many great teams there are, but there are a bunch of good teams, and it's wide open right now. You look at the college football playoff, there's obviously 12 teams now. I could only guarantee 1 Big 12 team gets in, but how likely do you think it is that maybe you see 2 Big 12 teams get into the college football playoff?
I think there's a decent chance. I really do. Right now you have 2 undefeated teams in the Big 12, and so that alone carries some weight. Obviously, from a Colorado perspective, you hope that doesn't hold up because you want to see the team get a chance to play for a Big 12 championship. But I do wonder, and it's funny because I brought this up about Kansas State last year, and I think Coach Prime actually brought it up too. But I was like, if Coach Prime was Kansas State's coach, they wouldn't have been left out of the playoff because of the attention and the ratings and all the stuff that he drives. And I wonder if Colorado can finish this thing out on a, what would be a 6-game winning streak, play some really good football down the stretch, if the committee won't be very, very tempted to give them one of those last couple seats.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting conversation. Ryan Koenigsberg here with us. When we get to the Heisman Trophy conversation, I'm a Heisman Trophy voter. I'll be stunned, obviously, obvious statement here, if Travis Hunter isn't a finalist. It feels like right now it's Genty against Hunter. That's been the big debate, and there's going to be a quarterback, right? It's been Ward, it's been Dylan Gabriel, but there's been a push as of late. You even heard Coach Prime talk about it, for Shedeur Sanders, who's been unbelievable. And I think Shedeur is going to either be the first or second quarterback taken in this upcoming NFL draft. But how likely do you think it is that we'll see not only Travis being a Heisman Trophy finalist, but having his teammate Shedeur Sanders join him in New York City in a few weeks?
Yeah, I've been pushing that campaign hard. I think that what Shedeur has been doing has been a little bit overshadowed by Travis. And Shedeur's been really cool about it, basically just, every week tweeting Travis Hunter for Heisman, Travis Hunter for Heisman. But I think he absolutely belongs in that conversation. And you got to watch the games. Like this last week, Shedeur had the flu. I mean, he literally had his flu game this last week and, completes over 80% of his passes, started the game, I think, 15 for 15. He is, as far as I'm concerned, one of the most precise passers I've ever seen in college football. And, he's tough. He brings that leadership. I think that if they had just found a way to win that Kansas State game and we're undefeated in conference play now, he would be getting a lot more hype. But, it's crazy the difference between the people who know and have watched him and what they think of him, and then the people who just want to hate on him. But that dude is really, really special. And as great as Travis is, and I think Travis should win the Heisman Trophy, it absolutely has to be acknowledged that Shedeur is who carries this team. And, without him, I don't know where they would be, but it would not be where they are now.
So since you cover this story on a daily basis, for people that are doubting Shedeur Sanders, what would you say to them? Who is the Shedeur Sanders that you know?
First and foremost, a person who lives and breathes the game. He doesn't go out and party. He doesn't drink. He doesn't smoke. He just is about football 24/7. And Coach Prime will tell you that of all of the kids, he spent the most time around him as a child. He's kind of the most like him. And when it comes to that, like, drive for football, that absolute passion for the game, he's second to none. And that goes into his preparation. I've never been around a college quarterback who prepares the way that he does, truly preparing, the way that professional quarterbacks are preparing on a weekly basis. He obviously has had the chance to be around some of the great ones, and he approaches it every week that way. And it's just rare for a guy to watch film and understand it. And that translates to his game on the field, which is, first and foremost, I think his ability to process and his ability to understand what he's looking at on the other side is why he's able to start a game with 15 consecutive completions, because he knows what you're doing before you do it. Again, kind of a rare trait for college quarterbacks. Then, he's so precise with the football. I was thinking about this, just this morning. Like, you never see Travis Hunter really make a crazy catch on offense. And it's because Shedeur always puts the ball in the right spot. And that goes for all these wide receivers. So it's that preparation, it's his precision, and then, all the intangibles. People want to say he's not a leader. Watch the videos of the sidelines. He's rallying those guys every single time, getting them around him, telling them what to do, what they're going to do. The toughness, all of it, man. It's to me, he's the best quarterback that I've seen in college. I've obviously spent my whole life around Colorado, but there's been some good quarterbacks come through here. And he's truly, truly special. I think he should absolutely be the number one quarterback taken in the draft.
Wrap it up with Ryan Koenigsberg. I just want to get your thoughts on two more things. Number one, right, when you bring in all this new talent and right, how much they had to overcome in really quickly rebuilding this program. It takes time to gel. North Dakota State wasn't a pretty performance this year. They still won. Obviously, the first half against Nebraska was miserable for a Colorado football fan. What did you see really change with this team from where they were after the Nebraska game to where we see them in present day already being bowl eligible?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think it starts going back to the offseason. And Coach Prime put a massive emphasis on team chemistry and team bonding. He made a rule that you can't have your phones at the lunch table, during the week. They did chemistry retreats up in the mountains, just getting this team to grow closer together. And I think that's the biggest difference from last year. Last year, they had a heartbreaking loss against Stanford that would have given them their fifth win. And I think really the loss, when they blew a huge lead, derailed the rest of the season. And that kind of pulled them apart. And you started seeing guys point fingers or wonder, why is he getting more playing time than me? Stuff that happens in college football. This year's team, after that Nebraska loss, got closer together. And I think that's the biggest difference between, good teams and bad teams, is adversity can pull you apart or it could bring you together. And this team absolutely just, hunkered down and said, hey, we got Colorado State. Like, there's no time to sulk or point fingers or anything. We have another rivalry game coming up. And they went out there and obviously, smacked Colorado State around and just built off of that momentum. And man, if they were just able to hold that lead late in that Kansas State game, we could be talking about something really special happening right now.
All right, I'll end you on this. Ryan Koenigsberg is here with us, does a great job, hosts the DNVR Bus podcast. If you want to hear things and watch things about Colorado football, he is the place to go to. Make sure you check him out on all of his socials. When it comes to Coach Prime's future, I'm not even bringing up the NFL. I don't think he's going to the NFL. But I was someone, when he's at Jackson State, that was like, he should be able to go to the SEC right away. We know Travis Hunter's going to be leaving. We know Shedeur Sanders is going to be leaving. For people that obviously are Colorado fans, they have that fear. How much longer is Coach Prime going to be here? Just what's your feel on that when another school could come calling and maybe take him away from what's going on in Colorado right now, which is so special?
Yeah, I mean, you obviously never know exactly what's going to happen, but I'll say this. Coach Prime is really, really happy in Colorado. Colorado has completely embraced him. He's embraced the state. He never stops talking about how much he loves it here. And on top of that, the way that they are recruiting freshmen and beyond for next season, I think is a great sign for Colorado fans that it's not he's not viewing this as a short-term thing. Even Travis Hunter was asked by RG3 recently, like, would you like Coach Prime to be your coach in the NFL? And he just said, nah, he's home. This is home for him now. And so I don't know how long Coach Prime envisions himself coaching at the college level, but I would put a pretty good number on it that as long as he's coaching at the college level, it will be at Colorado. Maybe he determines after a couple of years away from his kids when they're, balling out in the NFL that, hey, I want to just, be able to go travel around and watch Shador play or watch Travis or Shiloh play. But I think if he's going to be coaching in college football, it's going to be at Colorado.
Like, I heard what you just said, but number-wise, like, him being back next year is like as high as 95%? You going 100%? Like, what's the number?
Yeah, I would put it over 90%. I think it was something would have to change. Something drastic would have to happen for him to not be coaching at Colorado next year.
He is Ryan Koenigsberg. Does a great job once again, host of DNVR Bus Podcast. Appreciate you jumping on board. Thanks so much for doing this.
Appreciate you. Have a good one, man.
You got it. There he is, Ryan Koenigsberg joining us. Really good insight on the Colorado football team out there in Boulder, Colorado. We will come on back. It is a Paper Shredder Thursday. We'll see which teams we will eliminate from the NFL postseason hunt. But first up, with the latest sports flash, here is the Act Man, Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
And this report is brought to you by PXG Golf. Staying long and straight on the golf course is easier than ever with PXG clubs. Take your game to a whole new level and save $10 per club at pxg.com/football and use code football. Lamar Jackson missed practice yesterday because of what was called rest. Today, he was sidelined again today. The Ravens have termed it back and knee issues. They'll host the Broncos on Sunday, then play on Thursday night. Jared Goff back at Lions practice. And while this week marks the halfway point of the NFL season, the last game of October features the Texans and Jets in New York. Houston is off to a good start at 6-2, winners of 4 of 5. C.J. Stroud is hoping they can build on their strong start and keep it going into the final months of the season.
Coming into the 2 hardest months of ball is, November and December. We get to in October on a primetime game, and, it's going to be a great matchup against the Jets, and we got to be able to be ready and try to finish October the right way.
Only one of their wins is by more than 6 points. Another concern popped up this week with Stephon Diggs done for the year with a torn ACL. Baseball's offseason is underway. The Braves acquired more pitching help, reportedly trading Jorge Soler to the Angels for pitcher Griffin Canning. I'm Rich Ackerman.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on X. Our handle is INF Sports Network. That's INF Sports Network on X.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
Alrighty, happy Halloween, everybody. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. I do have my paper shredder back with us. We will shred some teams' playoff chances coming up in just a bit. I'm going to hope that my paper shredding abilities have gotten a little bit better, because last week, that was a really dangerous situation. It was just not good with the paper shredder. So the paper shredder is back. We will have to return it quickly to our boss's office in Chris Olivero, because if he's shredding some papers today, he may be like, where the heck is that paper shredder? You know, they do a company email blast at the end of the week where they highlight things that have gone on in the company, and they do with all their stations like 1010 Wins, WFAM, the Infinity Sports Network. We make the company highlight like every week, because we have big conversations that get picked up and interviews that go viral. You know, we have passionate opinions, things like that. But you know what they used last week? They used me taking Chris Olivero's paper shredder and they posted our segment and a link to click on it on like the video that we put out from the paper shredder Thursday. So how about that? This portion of the show is brought to you by Ethos Life, the easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes, up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam and just a few health questions. Get your free quote at checkethos.com. Not available in all states. You know, I should have done this before I got on the air. We shredded 6 teams last week. We have this on a Google Doc, right, Stu? If you could just pull that up real quickly, because I think I'm logged into the wrong email. So this is my bad. I should have done this a little bit quicker. Let me know when you have the 6 teams that I shredded last week. I think I remember a few of them. Do we have that list right there? We do? Okay. What are the 6 teams there, Mr. Ted Lasso? What do we got cooking?
All right. We got Patriots. We got Browns. We got Giants.
Patriots, Browns, Giants.
Jaguars, Titans, and Panthers.
Jaguars, Titans, and Panthers.
Those are the 6.
All right. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams that have been thrown in front of me today. We will see how many we will shred and how many teams who playoff chances, even though they're not mathematically eliminated yet, that we will be saying there is no chance that they make the NFL playoffs this year. Music, please. All righty. The LA Rams. This time last week, there was a thought on this show when we had Puka Nacua on that Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford could potentially be traded. The Rams won a football game this week. They are now 3-4, and I think they're starting to see an uptick in their season. So the LA Rams were on life support. Now there's a pulse. Now they're kicking, and they not only could be out of sports hospice soon, they could potentially make the playoffs this year. So I will not be shredding the LA Rams. Alrighty, our next team. Who dat? Who dat? Who dat say they're going to beat them Saints? Well, everybody. The Saints stink. The Chargers didn't even play all that well last week, and they still embarrassed the New Orleans Saints. This team is cooked. This team, they had optimism heading into last year, and everyone was like, oh, Derek Carr and the Saints are going to win the South. And I'm like, if Derek Carr's ever expected to win a division, that's when I say I expect him to not win a division. Okay? So my expectations are very slim going into the season, but it's clear that the Saints will not be making the postseason. Now, I'm in a low chair, and this paper shredder is like the only thing that makes me feel small. It's very intimidating. It's like when I stand next to Samter and Stu, quite frankly. So I will reach up. Let's see if we could shred this sucker. All righty. And away we go. The Saints are in the paper shredder. Next team, the Miami Dolphins. They got back their quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, and the Miami Dolphins lost the game that they should have won up against the Cardinals. There's not a lot of room for optimism. I should be shredding the Miami Dolphins. Let's see if they're going to go in the paper shredder this week. I think I'm going to save them. I don't believe in this team, but I want to give Tua one more opportunity, one more chance, because if this team could get some confidence, they have so much offensive firepower that they could go string together some games, and the AFC is still pretty open, in terms of making the playoffs. So I feel like the Dolphins should be shredded, but the Miami Dolphins on Halloween, I don't want to shred you. So I'll put you to a side for another week. This team's still here? Raiders. They stink. Stu, any last words for your team before I throw them in the paper shredder?
Shred them.
Shred them? You know what, Stu? Come on into the studio. I'm not going to shred the Las Vegas Raiders. I like Max Crosby, but this team stinks. This team is horrible, and this team needs to be shredded. We're going to have Stu, Ted Lasso, let out a lot of frustration right now. Hold on, get in the camera. You got to duck down, Stu. All righty, take cover. Take cover. He's shredding the Raiders. Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. Ted Lasso. Out of all the dramatic things I've ever seen, John, Ted Lasso has just shredded the Las Vegas Raiders. Oh, my gosh. All righty. I am going to MetLife Stadium in the swamps of Jersey. I wonder, after shredding the Jets, if my press credential is going to get revoked. I wonder if after the game, if I ask Aaron Rodgers a question, he looks at me and he goes, "You just shredded the football team on your radio show? That's not very zen of you. You need to go into a cave. You need to smoke or take some ayahuasca. You need to be one and fight the darkness." Whenever you have a quarterback lose to the Patriots, when the Patriots are not Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, the Pats right now, they can't block, they can't catch, and they were playing with the backup quarterback, and they beat you bums. And the Jets have lost 5 straight. This football team's 2-6. The line's fugazi tonight. I don't understand how Vegas has the Jets as a favorite, so it makes me think the Jets could win tonight, but I think the Texans should win this game even with all their injuries. So I feel like they know everyone's going to be betting on the Texans, so let's make the line so funky where some of the money actually goes on the Jets and it saves Vegas a little bit. Either way, I don't give a rat's ass if the Jets win tonight or not. Their season is over. They're not making the playoffs, and we are going to shred the Jets, Jets. And finally, the Dallas Cowboys. The drama. Dallas choking Cowboys. They were okay to start off that game up against the 49ers. And then they allowed 24 unanswered points. But as they were about to get shredded, they started to make a comeback. And then with the game on the line, yikes. Dak Prescott should have thrown a pick on that first attempt. Now, they ended up doing nothing. But you know what? We would not be a proper national radio show, even though I predicted before the year that the Cowboys wouldn't make the playoffs, if we would eliminate the Cowboys from this conversation and from this bit. So, with that being said, just because they are the Dallas Cowboys and every national radio program, stereotypical of every national radio program, we have to talk about the Cowboys, we will let the Cowboys live to see another day. So, we have shredded 3 teams today. We have said goodbye to the Saints. We have said goodbye to the Jets. And we have said goodbye to the Las Vegas Raiders. Stu, was that therapeutic for you when we said goodbye to the Raiders?
It really was. It was a little therapeutic.
Okay. Do you want me to print out a Yankees logo? Just wondering.
Too soon.
Too soon? I apologize. That wasn't nice. You know, you don't want to be like Garrett Cole. Instead of running to first base, we'll just throw him right in the paper shredder.
Yeah, I would have been running to like the garbage can instead of the paper shredder if I was Cole.
Yeah, I told Samter, by the way. I saw the Raiders logo was printed out today, and I go, I'm going to have Stu shred it. Samter and I were in on that. I'm like, just to see Stu running in here, you know, it's either going to be like a slow run where it's like, ugh, I don't want to actually shred the logo of my team. Or it's, no, I have a lot of pent-up frustration. We got to throw that baby in the paper shredder. So good stuff right there. All righty. That will do it for hour number 2 of our radio program. We still got one more hour to go. And when we come on back, we got a whole lot more to talk about in the football world. Aaron Rodgers and the Jets play football tonight. Aaron Rodgers turns 41 in a month. Is this going to be the final 2 months of the illustrious but confusing career of Aaron Rodgers? We discuss next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Alrighty, hour number 3 of our radio program. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. I didn't think I'd be starting this hour off this way, Santa has no clue what I'm going to talk about. Stu has no clue what I'm going to talk about. But I actually think if I know the way that one of our hosts operates around here on the Infinity Sports Network, there could be, and knowing the other guy as well, I think there could be a fight between two hosts on the Monday through Friday lineup right here on the Infinity Sports Network. And we haven't had a good battle probably between hosts in quite some time. Like, even when I would do those gambling picks on DA's show, when DA was here, and I would take shots at everybody, like, it was done as a bit. It was done in fun. But I don't remember the last time where there was serious anger between one host, a weekday host. Not like, a host that was like here like 1 or 2 days a week and then someone in the weekday lineup. I'm talking about weekday on weekday crime. So still ask you, if there was going to be a little kerfuffle between two hosts on the network, and let me be honest here, it has nothing to do with me. So if you think it has something to do with me, it has nothing to do with me. I'm friendly with everybody around here. Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Everyone loves them some Zach Gelb. But there is a potential fight, I think, and they may not even know there's a fight brewing. But I think, and I could observe, and I know the way that these people work, I could see there being a fight. And we could be having a few haymakers being thrown through the lines here of the Infinity Sports Network, through the connections of the board of the Infinity Sports Network. And quite frankly, you know what? Morale's been pretty good around here, I will say. I would be okay with seeing a little tussle, little kerfuffle between these two. Any idea?
Interesting. Does it have to do with a certain report that came out today?
You could be very warm still.
Yeah, so I would assume what you're maybe referring to is Bill Ryder's report about Giannis' future and a certain host that hosts here, that hosts in Milwaukee.
Who's a little emotional about his Bucks.
He hates when people try to get Giannis off the Bucks or think about Giannis maybe not being there. So, yeah, I could see that as a potential thing.
So the great Bill Ryder had a report out today on CBS Sports. There's a rising sense of confidence that if things go badly in Milwaukee, that Giannis Antetokounmpo could be available for trade and would really force his way out of Milwaukee in the next year. Let me tell you the sound effect that I'm hearing right now. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 no. I'm telling you, this is what's going to happen. There could be a call to the network later tonight that just says, hey, Bart, did you see that report from Bill Ryder, that commentary from the great Bill Ryder? And Bill is a great basketball mind, the best basketball mind that we have here at the network. Bill Ryder is a great reporter, right? Bill Ryder is someone that if it's basketball at this network, nobody, and I mean nobody, Monday through Sunday, can compete with the basketball knowledge that Bill Ryder has. And Bill Ryder talks to so many general managers, I'm sure, coaches, players. When Bill Ryder says something, remember, folks, he's righter than you. And Bill Ryder, when it comes to basketball, is really righter than you. But I could see maybe someone provoking Bart to comment on Bill's report. And even if it's not meant as a slight, Bart's going to punch back at the report, because it doesn't matter if Adrian Wojnarowski said, you know what, screw St. Bonaventures, I'm going to stop with the GM stuff. I'm going to go back to reporting. And Woj could report that the Bucks are trading Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Bart Winkler would say, bleep that dude, Woj, it ain't happening. And we love Woj, obviously. Shams Charania could have this report. Like, it doesn't matter who has this report. anything that is trying to take Giannis Antetokounmpo out of Milwaukee, Bart Winkler, he's going to fight. He is going to fight for Milwaukee. And you know this, Stu, working with Bart Winkler, and also working with Bill Ryder.
Yes, both of them.
You've worked with both of them, so you have good insight like me. The moment Bart jabs back and questions the validity of Bill Ryder's report, it's going to be World War VIII. We're going to skip World War III, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and we're going right to 8. We could have a potential fight, a little kerfuffle, a little brouhaha going on between Bill Ryder and Bart Winkler. And let me tell you something. I may be up late tonight. I'm going to be going to MetLife Stadium. I'm going to press conferences after the Texans Jets game. And if that game's a blowout, I may have time on my hands. Hey, it's Pete in Milwaukee. Hey, Bart, just wondering, did you see that jackwagon in the mornings on the Infinity Sports Network who basically is reporting that Giannis Antetokounmpo is thinking about leaving town? And when that happens, that would be me just dumping gasoline on the fire. And then I'll just lean back. And then the moment it gets to the desk of the great Bill Ryder, and I love Bill, and I love Bart, that Bart was chirping back about his report, Bill's going to come back, and he's going to be like, oh, no, you didn't. Boom! And we'll see if then Bart can get back up. But I think Bart will be able to get back up. He'll have a few spotted cows, and then he'll be like, boom. And then David Mayernick's going to have to send an email. Guys, we're on the same team. Come on. Let's all be friends. But I think there's going to be a fight here. If I was placing one bet right now, it is we are going to have a brawl on the air, an Infinity Sports Network brawl between Bill Ryder and Bart Winkler. The brawl between Bart and Bill. You know what? I got to give Bill top bill in there. The brawl between Bill and Bart on the Infinity Sports Network. Infinity. And I'll tell you, since I just said, I didn't realize this in the moment, but now I did. Since I just said Bill is the best basketball mind that we have in the network, that may start a brawl between Shep and I. And Shep and I are on good terms. But I can see Shep being a little sensitive to that. I can. So now we may have a fight between Gelb and Shep, and I don't want to fight Shep. I don't. I like Shep. So, Shep, don't get offended by that. I did see Shep, by the way. He congratulated Bob Costas during the break, too. So Bob Costas, he's not retiring, but he's retiring from calling baseball games. You know, I love Jim Nantz, but it's kind of like when Jim Nantz retired from the NCAA tournament. Like, he's still broadcasting. He's just retiring from a part, I guess, of his broadcasting career. So Bob Costas is not going to be calling baseball games anymore. And, right, with the legendary career of Bob Costas, he needed the David Shepard congratulations. So there you go. Who would have thought, by the way, Stu? Who would have thought that we would have this many fights potentially brewing at the network? You know?
A lot of them.
Just wait until somebody hears about that chair that I talked about.
I know. Shocked there wasn't an email yet.
You know, let me tell you, I could be an evil son of a bitch. I really can. When I just started right there in the last 9 minutes or so, you know what? I'm humble, okay? I've seen myself in the mirror. I'm humble. I should win a Marconi for that, all right? I should really win a Marconi for that foresight and having the brilliance to see one thing. And I'm not kidding, Stu. I didn't see this report from Bill this morning, but during the break on like Twitter, I logged on. It's like, oh, what did you miss? And I saw Bill's report, and the first thing I did when I saw that Bill report, I'm like, uh-oh, we're going to have a network fight. And Bill likes Bart, Bart likes Bill. But those are two guys that are very proud about what they do. And you know Bill, like, if you attack anything with his basketball acumen, it's like attacking his family. That's how serious, in a good way, Bill takes it. And Bart's love for Milwaukee, because he has like this little guy complex to him. where it's like, hey, people are punching down on the great city of Milwaukee. So if you're going to punch, you're going to get the bloviating loudmouth of a Bart Winkler. But once Bart comments on that report, and if he comments it on the way that I think he's going to comment on it, I think you're going to be getting a lot of punches. There are going to be a lot of haymakers being thrown. Let me tell you something. I'm just wondering, Stu, do I place the phone call tonight to Bart?
Yes.
Hey, Bart, it's Pete in Milwaukee. Did you see what that guy, Bill Ryder, posted about Giannis Antetokounmpo? Click. Just hang up. I should whisper the whole thing and just hang up. Jeez. You think, I know Bill sometimes listen. Since Winkler Wednesday came to a close, because I love Bart. Bart's a friend. But since Bart had to move, his kid, it's like half daycare, or maybe that's just what he told me to get out of the segment.
Possible.
I have not had a lot of interaction that much with Bart Winkler in a while. It's been a while. So, Bart's a good company guy. I'm sure he listens throughout the day. But it's also like prime trick-or-treating hours. He has a young son, so I doubt he's listening to us right now. But if either Bart or Bill are listening, just gave you guys the answer to the test, you know? It's like, you wouldn't know this, but being a big guy, whenever there's another big guy in the room, someone always tries to get the big guy to fight the big guy. Like, wouldn't it be something if so-and-so fought so-and-so and they just point to the two biggest guys in the room? I'm just saying. That's what I'm basically doing right now. Wouldn't it be something if Bill basically fought Bart over this report? Oh, that'd be great. Imagine the awful announcing in the Barrett Sports Media headlines to come out of that. And Bart always jokes around how he doesn't get the Barrett Sports Media pub.
He'll be very happy.
Yeah. So, hey, by the way, we thank those two publications, Awful Announcing and Barrett Sports Media. Both of them wrote about MikeMayock being on our show yesterday, where MikeMayock was basically like, if Tom Brady's going to have an active role as a minority owner, then, he needs to give up being a broadcaster for Fox. So, all righty. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We will take a time out. When we come on back, I was supposed to talk about Aaron Rodgers in this segment. We'll talk about Aaron Rodgers in the next segment. And then at 5:40 p.m. Eastern Time, we will do a news brief. Bart, Bill, Bart. Bart, Bill, Bart. Dance for us. We want to see it. Coming on back.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
The Dependable Player of the Week is sponsored by Depend and the Prostate Cancer Foundation. Remind you that health is a long game and screening for prostate cancer is easier than ever. Learn more at Depend.com. This week's player is Texans running back Joe Mixon. In just 5 games played, Mixon has 503 yards and 102 carries to go along with 5 rushing touchdowns. Hey, Stu, I haven't talked about this on the air. I'll get to Aaron Rodgers in just a bit, but I don't know. It's Halloween. I'm in a good mood today. You honestly, anyone could call me up right now at 855-212-4227. I'm usually unfiltered anyway. I just give you how I feel. But today, I'm in a really unfiltered mood, after what I may have just kind of stirred up between Bart Winkler and the great Bill Ryder, the great Bart Winkler, and the great Bill Ryder. Let's not snub anyone
I don't know.
of the greatness tags there. I don't want any smoke. I just want to create the smoke here. Have you followed? Now, I know this person a little bit. Not well, but I know this person a little bit. Met her at a Super Bowl party a few years ago. She's been on the show before. Have you at all followed this Taylor Mathis, the girl who does the walking bets?
Yes.
And I don't know how many people are paying attention to the bets. They're paying attention to 2 things, I think, on that video, but we don't need to go there. Have you paid attention to this Taylor Mathis, crypto kind of thing that's going on?
Yes, up until the last couple of days, and then I saw her starting to post again.
Yeah. So it got, really dark.
Yeah.
I think I understand the general gist of it. So she has like a massive following, like probably like over 200,000 followers, and she gives out sports bets. So she allegedly, like I don't know what's true or not, I guess someone in the crypto world that she didn't know like reached out to her, and they had her start, like, I don't know, endorsing but pushing a crypto coin. Like, I have never dealt with the crypto business. You know, when I do things financially, it's through a financial advisor. Tell me what to do. I am not brilliant when it comes to the financial world. Like, so many people, right? They think they're experts in so many things. I know what I'm good at. And the things that I know I'm not good at, I ask for help. With which a lot of people, for some reason, they're like afraid to ever ask for help for people that are actually like studying these things. So I guess there was this coin, this like Taylor Mathis coin. I don't even know if that's possible. And she started like pushing it. And she claims that none of this is true, but this is the other side of it, you know, just to be clear. So she started pushing it. And I guess all these people started like investing in the coin or buying the coin. And then like the coin, I guess, was booming. And then she sold after pushing it up, allegedly, like I guess her share in the coin or whatever. And then it dropped because she was no longer a part of the coin. And then she tried to buy it back when it was low, and then it went all back up. So it seems like something illegal happened. But this became like this last week. I think it was last weekend or 2 weekends ago. I forget what it was. And I just, didn't feel like talking about it till today because I saw something about her during the break on social media. I'm like Antonio Brown today. I see something on social media. I can't help myself. I just talk about it. So, long story short, then like the whole internet started going against her. And she's like a very nice girl. And she put out like this 6-minute video where she was like crying, like she's like, I just didn't know what I was doing. And she's like, I was just trying to bring the crypto world and the sports gambling world together. Like, we need the sports gambling world and the crypto world to be holding hands and be like, kumbaya. Like, what are we doing here? So it got like really dark, and she talked about like, I have sympathy for this. Like, she talked about how depressed she was, and like she like questioned if she even wanted to live anymore. Like, it got really ugly and like really nasty. So I don't know if anything came out of this. It seems like, it was a story on like our old boss Spike Eskin used to say, there's stories on the internet for a day. Everyone thinks it's the biggest deal in the world, and then by next week or a few hours later, no one's talking about it. So like, I'm sure for the rest of her life, she's going to have people saying, what about that crypto coin? Like in her DMs, like that just, or like in the comments, that's just going to happen. But you got to ignore people like that. And maybe something else does happen in the legal world with this. But now she's back to walking around, showing off certain things and obviously giving bets out. So it's Halloween today. And I think, for all the people that were out on Taylor Mathis, right? Like, I will never follow her again. And let's be real. It's like, I don't think those people that are like, because so many people are like in her messages and they're like, oh, we love you, we love you, we love you, we love you. It's like they just want to get acknowledged by her because she's like a pretty girl, right? So she put out on social media her Halloween outfit. And it's like kind of smart because this will just distract everybody from the crypto stuff. She is dressed up. She goes, the Pam Anderson guesses are good, but I did Pam and barbed wire. Oh, this is from 2 years ago. This isn't even her Halloween costume. I misread it. She tweeted out 3 hours ago, $100. Is that in crypto? To whoever can guess my Halloween costume, I truly don't think anyone will get it. And she tweeted out, the Pam Anderson guesses are good, but I did Pam and barbed wire 2 years ago. And she posted that photo, which I'm sure it's going to drive a lot of engagement. How many people? Oh, my goodness gracious. This post has only been up for an hour, Stu. How many people do you think have clicked on this?
I see it. Yeah.
589,000. 589,000 views off this one photo of her. Just absolutely incredible. That's wild. I'm talking about the views, by the way, just to be clear. But that's just wild. Absolutely wild. So that's the latest in this story. I guess all is back to normal. But so Lucy Burge, who also does walking bets, and she works for Odyssey, for BetQL. She posted about this, and she was like, see, this is what I've been saying about this girl, Taylor. And then Taylor was like, how could you do this? You're just a terrible human being. So they got beef. Because I guess Lucy Burge was originally walking around doing the walking bets. And then Taylor Mathis, I guess, started doing the walking bets. So now you got two titans of the walking bets community. Like how we expect Bill Ryder and Bart Winkler to be throwing down. That's what actually has happened between Lucy and Taylor Mathis. So that's the latest today. I kind of like these Halloween shows. Maybe we should all just dress up one day, out of the month, and we just kind of do unfiltered. Do whatever. Whatever's on your mind, we just talk about for 3 hours, even if it's, this is kind of sports related because it has to do with bets. But I saw one comment to Taylor that it was like, your pictures are great, but can we actually get some winners once in a while? So, funny stuff right there. All right, it is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. So, I hope everything ends up being okay with Taylor Mathis, because I will say, as someone that's such a dummy in the financial world, I think that kind of, when you get a platform and you become very successful, sometimes you overvalue your worth. And you try to become experts in different things. She's not an expert in the crypto world. She even admitted it. So maybe she just made a genuine mistake, and I will try to see the good right in all people. But, you never know. The evidence against her looked pretty damaging as well. All righty, Aaron Rodgers. You know who I feel like today? I feel like I'm Aaron Rodgers at a podium right now. I'm just rambling for 27 minutes. I'm going off script. I'm like Aaron Rodgers today on the Pat McAfee show. But I'll get serious here. Aaron Rodgers is 2-6 right now with the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers is playing on one leg right now. Aaron Rodgers is looking how a 40-year-old quarterback should look like. And that's not what Tom Brady looked like at 40 years old, because Tom Brady's an anomaly. Aaron Rodgers, in a little over a month, he turns 41. Stu, I'll just ask you this. With how much of a deep thinker Aaron Rodgers is, right? Aaron Rodgers is an intellectual, deep thinker. He's so much more intelligent than what we are. But with that being said, do you think the human emotion has overtaken the spiritual body, the ayahuasca body of ayahuasca Aaron? And when he's fighting the darkness and trying to fight back against the darkness and make peace with the darkness tonight for the dark times that the Jets are going through right now. Do you think Aaron Rodgers thinks in the back of his head, I know I have a year left on my contract, but maybe these are the final 2 months of my football career in the National Football League? Out of 100%, what is your percentage that Aaron Rodgers retires at the end of this season?
I would say 20%. I think he'll be back next year. Whether that's good or bad, that's another story, but I think he will try to do a second full year with the Jets.
I learned a word when I was in high school, and it was a simple word. It's called hubris. It's one's overconfidence that leads to one's downfall. I think Aaron Rodgers' hubris is going to play a factor into this. Where Aaron Rodgers, he should retire. I think down deep he knows he should walk away at the end of this year. But Aaron Rodgers, if you tell him to go left, he goes right. If you tell him 2 + 2 = 4, he tells you, no, Zach, you're a dummy. You went to Temple University. 2 + 2 = 6. That's just what Aaron Rodgers does. You tell Aaron Rodgers that the color blue is blue. He looks at it and he goes, nope, that's green. That's what Aaron Rodgers does. So I think Aaron Rodgers, because of how confident he is, will ultimately come on back and play football next year. But if I'm advising Aaron Rodgers, and I know Aaron Rodgers doesn't need my advice, he'd be like, who is this dope on the radio? If Aaron Rodgers wanted my advice, maybe I see him tonight after the game. Hey, yo, Zach, how you doing? Good to see you, man. I would say, Aaron, it's time to wrap it up. It's time to retire. Because Aaron's not winning another Super Bowl in this league. And that's the only reason why he should be playing. So the only reason why I think it's potentially on the table is because of this. You know, Aaron is a strange dude. Aaron is a different guy. And when I look at Aaron Rodgers, even though if you put a gun to my head, I do think he's coming back and playing football next year, I don't feel like he has the same drive and the same dedication and willing to risk it all for football as other quarterbacks have. So I could just see kind of Aaron Rodgers with his other interests be more interested in those things, Stu, than actually football. Because it doesn't feel like football is the main thing anymore for Aaron Rodgers. What are your thoughts?
I could see it. I just have a hard time thinking that I think he's too, kind of like what you said. I just don't think he's going to give it up. Like, he still thinks he can do it. Mm-hmm. Even as bad as it's been, I think he could still think he can. And he's going to have time after, he'll play one more year and then have time to do all the other stuff he wants to do.
There will be drama, too.
Always.
Like, even if he's coming back, he's not making that decision right at the end of the season. Even if he knows he's retiring, he going to drag this out. Because Aaron, the thing he loves the most is himself. And he is like a drama whore. He really is. He loves the attention. Even though he complains about the spotlight, he loves the spotlight. Aaron is about Aaron. So I do think he'll be back. I lean more he's coming back than not. But if I was him, I'd retire. I'd retire after this year. Enjoy the final 2 months. Not going to be much to enjoy. The team stinks. You're 2-6. You may be 2-7 after tonight. And then I would hang it up. And then imagine if you're Devontae Adams. It's happening again. I get my friend back. I have returned. And then, boom, he's out. He's gone. And then you're going to have to force another trade. That's why, stop being stupid, Devontae. Stop picking Derek Carr. Stop picking Aaron Rodgers. Go take a young, promising quarterback. I don't know, like Jordan Love or Jaden Daniels. Go hitch your wagon to that young quarterback so you actually have a chance to go win again. It is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We'll come on back with a news brief. Update time first, though. Here he is, the Act Man, Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson missed a second straight day of practice. Yesterday, head coach John Harbaugh termed Jackson's absence as a day of rest. Today, it has been called issues with his knees and back. Jared Goff back at Lions practice today after sitting out yesterday. Week 9 begins tonight with the Jets hosting the Texans, and no matter how hard they try, the Jets just can't seem to get it right. Aaron Rodgers' return has not been the elixir. New York has lost 5 in a row, including the last 3 under interim head coach Jeff Ulbrich, and as bad as things are, Rodgers urges everyone to relax.
Just smile, show up, trust, believe, and root us on as hard as you can. We need that noise, and we're trying to rectify this as quickly as possible. I know it's been frustrating for everybody, but still a lot of season left.
Houston is 6-2, winners of 4 of 5. However, almost all their wins have been by one possession. They'll also be without Stephon Diggs for the rest of the season due to a torn ACL. The baseball offseason is now underway. The Angels have reportedly acquired Jorge Soler from the Braves for pitcher Griffin Canning. 4 games on the NBA schedule tonight, starting with the disappointing Bucks at 1-3, taking on the Grizzlies in Memphis. I'm Rich Ackerman.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on Instagram. Our handle is Infinity Sports Network. That's Infinity Sports Network to follow us on Instagram.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick from the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Oh, my God, we're back again.
Alrighty, wrapping up shop. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. If you're listening to us right now, after trick-or-treating maybe with the young ones, well, thanks for doing so. Hope everyone's having a great Halloween. And by the way, if you get some Reese's Peanut Butter Cups or some Kit Kat bars, just send them to Zach Gelb at 345 Hudson Street, the 10th floor, New York, New York. Send us your candy if you want. We'll take your candy. Sam will take your candy. Stu will take your candy. I'll take your candy if you want to get some of that candy out of the home. I don't know about you, Stu. When I was a kid in like middle school and high school, those were the prime trick-or-treating years because like in like 8th grade, you get to like start trick-or-treating, I feel like, on your own. And then 9th grade, when you're in high school, that's like when all the fun starts. You guys ever do some mischievous things, potentially, when you were trick-or-treating back in the day?
Honestly, no.
Really?
Yeah, nothing crazy.
So we had, like, the shaving cream.
Yeah.
We had, like, shaving cream houses. You'd have eggs, and you'd throw eggs at people's houses if you didn't like what kind of candy that they gave. And I was always a big stealer. This was felon Zach. I would steal the bowl. If there was a bowl, take one. Nope. It's all going into the pillowcase that we would be having. And we would walk around. My friend's dad, my best friend's dad, though, who was unfortunately no longer with us anymore, he got smacked in the eye with an egg once from some hooligans. They were just throwing eggs, and he got smacked in the, that. To be clear, that's not, unfortunately, why he's no longer with us. But he got smacked in the eye with an egg, and I'll never forget that. But yeah, not that we were like really, really bad, like we weren't, but we had fun. It was always like you would like have like shaving cream fights with like other people. You'd be like throwing eggs at other people. It got pretty rough in the streets in the Dix Hills, Comac area growing up as a kid. Alrighty. By the way, where you at on candy corn? You like candy corn?
Love candy corn.
You do?
I do.
You're a strange bird if you like candy corn.
I really like candy corn.
Huh. Well, what do you like? I've never got the appeal of candy corn.
I just like it. I think it's, I don't know if I would like it like 12 months out of the year, but for like this time of the year, it's just something I like.
Yeah, you know what I really liked? After you go trick-or-treating, like when you were younger, you go back to somebody's house. The mom that would make those sugar cookies that would have like the Halloween logos, like a pumpkin logo or something on them. Those were always delicious. Because like after you go trick-or-treating when you were like younger, like elementary school, middle school, like, order a bunch of pizzas, you have all your candy, you do a bunch of trades too. There was a lot of trading, a lot of wheeling and dealing. I was like a GM at the trade deadline. I'm like how Brad Holmes should be at the trade deadline, wheeling and dealing for a pass rusher. Oh, I got this Nerds rope. Who's got Reese's Peanut Butter Cups? And you would make all those trades and it would be fun. But like back in the day, like I'm not talking about like when we'd be on our own, you like go back to someone's house, they have like pizza. And for some reason, those sugar cookies with the logo, like they're like a pumpkin or something on them, delicious.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. They come in like the tube, right? And you cut it up.
And you cut them.
It's like Pillsbury, I think it might be, whatever. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And let's be real. As good as those cookies are, just eating straight cookie dough is. I know you're not supposed to do it. But if you're making cookies, like 95% of the fun is eating the cookie dough. So, does Angie make cookies?
She makes cookies and I eat the cookie dough. So,
Well,
yeah.
Can I just say something? Tom DiBenedetto, who's now Jim Rome's producer.
That's right.
I almost called him Tom DiCelestino. I'm sure those guys have been confused for one another before. But his now wife, Gigi, she used to make these pinoli cookies around the Christmas time. And those pinoli cookies were some of the best cookies I've ever had. You know who's a really good baker too? Amy Lawrence. Amy Lawrence has made me cookies before, and they're unbelievable. She brought them into the office, and I shamed her into making me cookies because I'm like, oh, where's mine? And then she brought in like a whole batch of cookies the next day, and they were delicious.
So now you're going to shame Angie into making you cookies.
Oh, yeah. If you want your boyfriend to continue to have a job, I want cookies. Just go home. Say, hey, Zach's threatening to fire me if we don't make that fat guy some cookies. All right? Let's feed him some cookies so he could shut that fat mouth of his. When does she make cookies during Christmas time, or is it just year round she makes cookies?
Year round.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just wait until Christmas.
A little closer to Christmas, maybe.
We'll do like a Christmas feast. Maybe we'll all like bring something in, and we'll all be like one big happy family, and we could try some of her cookies. Now, can I be honest though? Like when I'm trying the cookie.
Yeah, of course.
Like she's not going to be sensitive. Like,
No.
Zach said my cookies suck, which I don't think they're going to suck.
No, I don't think they
But
suck.
D-Ben put me on the spot. He made me try the cookies. And I had to rate all them. And thankfully they were good. Like imagine if you're trying the cookies and they're not bad and we're on
that's
camera.
awkward.
Like if you're just on the radio, this is a good cookie. But when people could actually see you, right?
It's hard to fake, yeah.
On YouTube, it's like you take a bite of a cookie, it's not that good. It's tough to fake. All right, let's update you some of the biggest stories in the world of sports with some audio. Let's get to a news brief.
Time for your daily news brief. We get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
All right, courtesy of Fox, Walker Buehler came out of the pen, and he found a way to shut down the Yanks, and the Dodgers are World Series champs. Walker Buehler on critics discounting the 2020 Los Angeles Dodgers. Not even this year's team, the 2020 team, because of their COVID title.
Obviously, for me personally, huge. Two years off, 2 surgeries. It's a lot. For our organization, we deserve this. We've been playing really good baseball for a lot of years, and 2020 and whatever, but I can't say a whole lot about it now.
Oh, yeah, if you have something critical to say about 2020, which I don't see why you would, and I feel like a lot of time that is like in a sarcastic way, like Mickey Mouse title. You know, people say that with the NBA, with your Lakers still.
They do.
Mickey Mouse ring.
Yes, they do.
I still rather have a Mickey Mouse ring than no ring.
Yeah.
That's just me. But when you win it again, it's like, okay, see how stupid you were when you said that. Now, you don't know what it's like to win it again because the Lakers haven't won it again with this group.
The Celtics TV the other night had like the total titles count, and it had the Celtics with 18, Lakers with 17, and then it had an asterisk next to the 17, and it said includes Mickey Mouse title. It said it includes Mickey Mouse title.
And where was that?
The Celtics TV channel. Network.
Okay.
Yes.
So NBC Sports Boston or NESN, whatever. So it wasn't like it wasn't coming from the Celtics.
No.
Gotcha. It wasn't like they had like a championship
that'd
video.
be great if it was from the Celtics. Yeah.
No, that would have been really. I would have been like, wow, how did I miss that one? Here is Juan Soto. Didn't get a World Series photo with the Yanks, but will the loss impact his impending decision of free agency?
At the end of the day, we will see where we are. Definitely tough game to be my last one, but really happy with what we accomplished as a team and how far we got. Definitely, we wanted to get to we wanted to be the last team standing, but things happen.
And will the Yankees have an advantage to sign him since he's already in the building?
I feel like every team has the same opportunities when I'm going to the free agency. I don't want to say anybody has any advantage because at the end of the day we're gonna look what they have and how much they want me.
Meet the Mets, meet the Mets, step right up and meet the Mets. That sounds like he's going to the highest bidder still. That's what it sounds to me like.
It sounds like the Boris playbook is what it sounds like.
So you're saying drive up the price, and you may still think that you hold out hope if the Mets just go up and up and up, and even though the Yankees don't top the Mets, that there's a price that they'll be willing to take to stay with the Yankees.
I would think so, but again, like you said, I think he's definitely going to go probably to the highest bidder, which I would assume would be the Mets. I would think.
If Steve Cohen, you make him an offer he can't refuse, okay? Now, I will say this. I have not got to the line of thinking all throughout the season that Juan Soto was going to the Mets. Last night when the game ended, I'm like, here we go, Juan
I know.
Soto.
You're the first tweet I saw.
I am now all in.
The Dodgers weren't even on the field yet.
I went from 0 to 100 real quick. I'm all in. I was even crafting up the tweet in the 8th inning. It was in my drafts. Just saying. And I was ready to keep it there until the Yankees were going to be eliminated because they were not coming back and winning that series even if they won the game last night. Here is Garrett Cole on not covering first base in the 5th inning.
I guess that's tough to say for me right now. I guess my angle should be a little more aggressive to first base to give myself a chance to continue through the bag if I don't get the ball. But I just didn't read the ball well.
Let me tell you something. If I ever needed to have like a court case about Zach Gelb, if there was a witness to defend me, Garrett Cole would be last on that list. So,
I guess that's tough to say for me right now.
Let's hear from Derek Jeter and Alex Rodriguez on the Yankees' fifth-inning blunders. This courtesy of Fox.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever quite seen an inning like this, especially in a World Series or postseason game. Look, the Yankees made some mistakes. You can't make mistakes against a team like the Los Angeles Dodgers. That particular inning, you gave them 6 outs. Yeah. For the Yankees, you just cannot make that many mistakes.
Yeah, Derek, this is one of the greatest meltdowns that I've ever seen in 40 years, and it's unfortunate.
That, like, Stu, having those two on the broadcast coverage, I'm glad they were honest. Because, right, like, A-Rod doesn't need the Yankee pom-poms, but sometimes Jeter has them. And it was just good to, like, not good that it happened, but it was just refreshing to hear them just be how Yankee fans were thinking in that moment. Here is J.J. Watt on the Pat McAfee Show. He calls out the Indianapolis Colts for benching Anthony Richardson.
Do you think the Colts are a Super Bowl team this year? Do you think they can win the Super Bowl this year?
You tell me.
I personally don't. I think they're a very good team. I do think Flacco gives them the better chance to win games right now. I don't think they're a Super Bowl winning team this year. And for me, if you were going to go that route, then you have to move to Flacco earlier than this. That's my opinion. Because right now, I think the only way you go to Flacco today is if you truly believe you can win the Super Bowl this year. Because otherwise, you have to figure out what you have with Anthony Richardson long term. You have to let him grow. You have to let him develop.
I think he's 100% right. And I think ultimately Shane Steichen's like the locker room gave up on him because of the comments. We gave up on him, and we don't believe in him anymore. They just made that decision real quick. Like this idea that Anthony Richardson's going to come back and be the successful star in Indianapolis one day, I just don't see it. Rex Ryan on the Dan Patrick Show. Would you take the Jets job full-time again?
Would you take the job if they offered it to you today?
Oh, and I would definitely take it. Like, not as an interim guy, no chance. But as a, full-time guy, next year or whatever, absolutely, because I believe in the talent there. I know the ownership group, and I love the fan base, but of course.
And then finally, what would it be like for you coaching Aaron Rodgers?
Would you stand up to Aaron Rodgers and say what you just said there to him and say, hey, you're either in or you're not, I'm not BSing here.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Give me a break. Let's see. I think so. I think I might do it.
I don't think Rex would be a head coach again in the league, but I really hope he becomes a head coach again in the league. I like Rex Ryan. I think Rex Ryan is hilarious. So I've always said this. Rex Ryan, imagine him coaching a big-time college program. Like, I know John Gruden keeps on trying to throw his name out there for a college job. Like, Rex Ryan, can we throw his name out there for a college job? Imagine Rex Ryan at Florida. How fun that would be. I'm all in on that. If Billy Napier loses his job. All righty, that will do it for the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network on this Thursday. Follow me on social media at Zach Gelb, ZACHGELB, Twitter and Instagram. I'll put a photo up of Stu and I. Stu dressed as, obviously, Ted Lasso. I'm dressed as Scooby-Dooby-Doo in honor of Tarek Skubal and his sensational season in Major League Baseball. We'd like to thank you for listening to us today, and I'll give you some coverage tonight at the Texans-Jets game if you want to check it out on social media as well. Stu, thank you. Sam, thank you. Each and every one of you, thank you. We'll do it all again tomorrow on a big Football Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. I'm Zach Gelb. We out. Bye-bye. Peace.
You're in a 5-minute break.